What's going on, everybody? Sean, joined again by my son Trey, and today reactions to the classics. We're going to be reviewing Picaresque by the Decemberists, brought to us by our patron, one of our main men, Josh. Josh, thank you for your support.
As
always, man. If you would like to support us, check out our patron link below. Please give this a thumbs up. It really helps us out. And hit that big red subscribe button if you haven't already. Album reviews, song reactions, live streams, you name it. We got it. Every single day we upload content.
Yeah, and you can also check out our podcast, Reactions to the Classics Music Podcast, and all our social media as well down below, Instagram, Facebook, Discord. And now we're going to get into this record a little bit. The Decemberists, man, 2005.
Third album, 2005.
And it is quite acclaimed. Pitchfork even included it in their top 200 records.
Number 143, 81 out of 100 on Metacritic, which means universal acclaim. This kind of came about in a weird way. In the summer of 2004, they rented the Prescott Church for 1 month, and they went in there, and to avoid creative block and stimulate ideas, they took a bike helmet, wrote down a bunch of ideas, and threw them in a hat and started picking them out. And maybe that's why, because I'll tell you what, Colin Meloy, who wrote all the songs, tackles some weird content at times.
He definitely does, and that's something to know as you're going into this record. He studied English in college, and you can tell he's a very well-read man. Lots of great references to just a wide variety of stuff from history and literature, and this record definitely is best listened, I think, whenever you're looking at the lyrics, following along. It's a very, I think, intelligent listen.
It is. They got a bunch of different weird instruments too. They got an accordion. They even got a hurdy-gurdy in there.
Yeah, and there's your vocab will probably expand. There was a couple words I had to look up.
I did too, man. I'm like, okay.
So very impressive lyricism throughout this record, and a lot of, as you mentioned, unique kind of instruments in here as well. And we might as well get started with the track-by-track review. We start off, speaking of unique subject matter, with the Infanta. I hope I'm pronouncing that right.
That's what I would go with too, Trey.
And here it's talking about like a big, epic, grand coronation of this infant who's kind of next in line for the monarchy here. At the very end, it even has an allusion to probably the most famous infant there ever was in Moses.
Exactly. But it also kind of at the end lets you know, like, the infant has no idea what's going on. All this pomp and circumstance, the infant doesn't give a rip about any of that.
And musically, we already start off with kind of an organ here. And it was interesting, and there is, I was reading, and I think there is some validity to this. A lot of these records, though maybe on the surface don't have a lot of thematic intersection with them. This kind of points to the fact that how you're born and where you're born into really affects a lot of your life, and that's something you can't even control. A lot of it's luck of the draw, kind of, so to speak, and that this song really sets that forth.
And then we're going to go on to the next song, We Both Go Down Together. It's narrated by a man from the British upper class who's in a relationship with a poor peasant girl named Miranda, possibly forcing himself on her, then describes the details, their ruinous and ultimately deadly relationship. Colin Meloy called the song's narrator a, quote, a-hole and a sociopath. Meloy announces the song is about a joint suicide. So I'm glad there was some stuff I could find that where Colin actually addressed it. You're the dude that wrote it. I could read between the lines and kind of figure it out, but very obviously, goes without saying, but hey, I'll say it anyway, heavy subject matter.
Oh yeah, you really do hate this main male character, and again, talking about the privilege theme I think this line really highlights it in this song. You come from parents wanton, a childhood rough and rotten. I come from wealth and beauty, untouched by work or duty. Musically very folk inspired. I thought it was a very solid tune. Again, tackling a very unique subject matter.
Same thing. I thought it was pretty good. Now we're going to go into another unique subject matter and dark. Eli, the Barrow Boy, which is probably about a ghost who had
killed himself.
Yeah. So, we're in some serious subject matter here.
Absolutely, and this is something new I learned. A barrow is kind of whenever you're buried, the dirt going over.
I had to learn that as well.
It also kind of mentions that he pushed a barrow in whenever he was alive, so
yes.
Great kind of a double meaning on that.
And he probably committed the suicide by drowning himself after he lost his beloved, likely to some disease. He states that still, when the moon is out, he calls down the day. Choruses are narrated by the ghost of Eli and Barrow Boy himself, telling his own story. Acoustic tray, nice harmony, sets the mood instrumentally for the content, I thought. Nice chorus. Pretty good song.
Yeah, I thought it was the weakest up to this point musically, but again, quite powerful lyrically. And then going to keep the eclectic subject matter coming in with the sporting life up next.
And this is basically talking about this guy is not a great athlete, so he disappoints his girlfriend, his dad, everybody.
Yeah, and there's a line in there. He looks over and his girlfriend is arm in arm with like the captain from the other team. His father's disappointed in him. It's a subject matter I think a lot of people can relate.
That's what I thought. That's the first thing that's relatable, right? The first three, it's like, they're good songs, stories, but I can't relate to this. This is more upbeat, instrumental.
Yeah,
as well.
Exactly. The propulsive kind of drums, especially,
which fits the subject matter.
So again, another solid tune here. Don't know if I'd listen to it outside of this record per se, but I thought cool job there. And then we're going to go now to track number 5.
The Bagman's Gambit tells the story of a government worker who falls for a spy and the lengths they are willing to go for them. Trey, a bagman is a person in charge of collecting or distributing dirty money for organized crime, while Gambit is in chess, an opening move in which the player sacrifices a low-value piece to achieve a more advantageous position. Got acoustic for the first 2 minutes, builds from there, picks up with the story. Nicely done. Crazy last minute and a half. Builds instrumentally, really manic.
That's exactly
and then
what
it
I
drops
said.
off to the acoustic the last 30 seconds like it started, so it bookends. So I had to learn what both of those things were in the
getting educated here.
The Bagman's Gambit.
And I'm with you. I liked the first minute and a half was quite slow. I was like, what are they going? And then boom, the drums come in booming here about 2 minutes in, and did a great job in this song of shifting moods here, setting the stage. I think one of the best stories on this record, which is saying something.
Not the most epic song. We'll save that for song number 10, but up there on this record.
Oh, definitely. And we'll keep this train rolling with track number 6.
From My Own True Love, parentheses, Lost at Sea. Basically, this woman asks the postman every day for 80 years, do you have the letter? She's in love with this guy. He was lost at the sea, wondering if a letter is coming from him.
Yeah, this, again, kind of continues the theme we had from the last tune where, the spies, they had that forgotten or lost or, couldn't connect type of love. That continues here. I thought it was a solid
Very
tune.
chilled. Ends strangely. Ends in a good way, but just an interesting 15-second beat on the drum.
That's right.
To end it and fade it out. I guess probably that sorrow, probably that never gonna get what she wanted.
And that transitions well into the next song, 16 Military Wives. One of my favorite, this might actually be my favorite song on the record. Lots of heavy subject matter tackled here. Colin noted that this is partially inspired, this is 2005, so the time and place here in America, partially inspired by the George W. Bush administration, but also the media, how they maybe over-sensationalize stuff or play on emotions, or...
Oh man, at least that doesn't happen.
Or just at the end of the day, you don't have much to say. Like in the song itself, it notes that the media is just there singing la 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 la. They don't really have anything of substance to go with. So I thought this was just a fantastic tune, musically, lyrically, just kind of had everything going for it.
I totally agree. Specifically delved out into 3 parts. The first verse deals with the pointless deaths of the wars, like you were talking about. The second with the self-congratulatory nature of celebrity and academic culture, famous people and quote smart people. And the third with the overall corruption of the country. The song itself for me, I know you said it's one of your favorites, is okay. The lyrics make it stand out for me. Yeah, it's just fantastic.
And I love the horns in there too. Add just a little bit of texture, and all three of those things you mentioned kind of collide at the very end. Notes 14 cannibal kings wondering blithely what the dinner bell will bring. 15 celebrity minds served on a leafy bed of 16 military wives. Just the fact he brought all that together was very, very well done. So shout out to Colin on that one, and we'll keep this rolling. We only have a few tracks left.
We do. We're going to go to The Engine Driver, which Colin said this is one of his favorite songs of the Decemberists. He said it came together very quickly. Colin said it came out fully formed. He remembered that their guitarist Chris Funk was going through a breakup at the time and playing it for the band in practice. It just seemed to hit the right notes, a sort of sad sentiment of it all. Common thread basically, Trey, is if you don't love me, let me go. None of these songs are just straight up, here's what it's about. He delves it all out using different stories and metaphors and allegories. So you really got to dive in, as you mentioned at the start, and look at the lyrics to try to figure out what the heck is going on.
Yeah, and the melody here was one of the most pleasant ones on the record.
That's one of my favorites on the record.
Yeah, it just reflects that theme. No matter who you are, what position you are, heartbreak is going to come in this life, and I definitely enjoyed it as you did, and we'll keep on moving now to On the Bus Mall. And this, again, talking of unique subject matter, chronicles the experiences of two male prostitutes living in Portland. Stereogum actually named this the best Decemberist song. Lots of poetic imagery found in this, and I'm sure if you're from Portland, you'll pick up more of the references.
Yeah, talking about specific neighborhoods.
So that was a neat, not a favorite for me on this
really
record.
good lyrically, very intense lyrically.
But it's still just the subject matter and how he's able to weave something on the surface. You're like, where's Colin gonna go with this?
Yeah.
He did it as you would expect, in a great way.
Of course.
Was quite poetic and poignant, and so I enjoyed it. And then we get to quite the epic song
with the Mariner's Revenge song. Trey, I said at the beginning we hadn't heard the Decemberists, but we actually have heard this song because we did a song reaction to it, so I'm very familiar with it. It's a nautical ballad.
About 9 minutes long.
Yeah, and it's just like, I don't even know how to describe it musically.
Got an accordion in there for the first time.
Everything in the kitchen sink, that overused cliche would fit here. The story is basically, you got this kid, I mean he's 18 at this point I think, going after this guy because when the narrator of it was 3 years old, his dad had died. His mom hooks up with this guy, and this guy is basically a gambler and a womanizer and takes all her money and leaves. Yeah. And so when the mom is on her deathbed, she tells her son, who's now 18, she tells him, find him, bind him, tie him to a pole, and break his fingers to splinters, drag him to a hole until he wakes up naked, clawing at the ceiling of his grave. So as any good boy would do for his mama's dying wish, he takes off looking for this guy. Then he hears about this captain on this ship that's a very cruel man and figures somehow that's got to be the guy. So he gets a job working on another ship, and they're about to dock to this ship where he thinks he's going to find this guy, and then a whale comes and everything breaks loose, and only two guys are alive. They get swallowed by the whale. It's, of course, the son and the guy he's looking for.
Yeah, it's so much packed into this tune, man. And talking about the mother's wish, my favorite part of the song is the female vocals come in.
Yes,
a little haunting, saying what his mother said, and just folk inspired, but also so much more is in this song.
Yeah, there's just so much in it. You got to listen to it once. That's all you do. Just to it's definitely...
any song here, I would choose this one just to hear what the Decemberists have cooked up for this. One of my favorites, just for the epic, grand nature of this tune, and just the very enthralling story.
You got to respect it.
What's going to happen next?
Yeah, what's going to happen next?
And then that's going to take us to Of Angels and Angles. That
rolls right off the tongue, doesn't it?
And after the epic, frantic nature of the Mariner's Revenge song, this brings it all the way down. We have, I think, one of Colin's best vocal performances.
Agreed.
Just him and his acoustic guitar, again reflecting some of the poetic melancholy that we have on this record. I think it brings it to a nice conclusion, and that'll bring us to our favorite tracks.
Yeah, this is a 53-minute, 11-song album, so you have plenty to choose from here. For me, it's going to be The Engine Driver and the Mariners' Revenge Song.
Yeah, for me, I'm going Mariner's Revenge Song, and 16 Military Wives would be my favorite on this record, and that'll take us to the overall score. For me, I thought this was a very good record, especially in its genre. This is a type of album where if you hear the first song or two and you're not vibing with it, you probably won't vibe with this record.
I agree, because it's, even though there's some different things, obviously the Mariner song is out there kind of over here different, but yeah, it's got the same kind of sound to most of it. I told you this earlier before we did this, that it was hard for me to pick favorite songs because I don't dislike any song and I don't love any song. It's just kind of a very consistent, you got to be in the right mood to listen to this. I'm glad I listened to it. I'm glad Josh brought it to us. For me, I'm going to be at a 7.25. I think Colin is a tremendous songwriter. As you said, it's going to make you smarter. You know, and they definitely didn't mail it in on any tracks. So what do you think?
Yeah, for me, I have a lot of the same thoughts you did. Definitely a record, and I think a band that when you're in the mood for them, they're going to hit all those boxes. But you're not going to be probably, when you get the aux chord passed to you, playing the Decemberists. And that's fine, because obviously music serves different purposes.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. You know, I love listening to my melancholy, dreary music whenever I'm chilling alone at night, and the Decemberists check that box off. So I'm going to be at a 7.5 on this one. Let us know if you're familiar with this record, what you think of it down in the comment section below. Thanks again to Josh for bringing this to us, man. And as always, y'all, thanks so much for watching. Happy listening, and until next time, we will see ya.